Awakening your everyday wisdom. Artificial intelligence. The big question. Will robots kill humanity? There's a lot of fear going on about that very question right now. I'm going to delve into it, and then in part B, I'll offer a few suggestions on what we might do as everyday citizens. So let's just start by imagining all the kinds of jobs that can be replaced by robots. There are some people that say robots will be so smart that there's no job that human beings can do that computers or robots couldn't do better. That's a little frightening, but I have a lot more other stuff to frighten you with. So let's look at some of the sci-fi movies. You know, many of them were developed years ago, Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica and 2001 Space Odyssey, where Hal refused to obey the commands of his human, and robots were rising up against humanity, Terminator movies. So some of those could be indicators of our future. A lot of things that were predicted by sci-fi many years ago we have today. Cell phones is one of them. So, you know, I don't want this to be all about the negative aspects of artificial intelligence. There are lots of positives, and we all know, you know, we are doing so many things today with technology that we couldn't have dreamed about 50 years ago. And our ability to communicate and create, like me being able to do these videos right now. What would it be like without YouTube? You know, life would be very, very different for us. So I'm grateful for what we have. My question is, how far is this going to go? And like most systems in nature, they go as far as they can until they atrophy or self-destroy. So what's going to happen with computers? You know, another example, a positive example, is in the area of medicine. Big breakthroughs. And I'll give you a personal story. 5 years ago, actually 5.5 years ago now, I had surgery. And a half an hour before the surgery was to commence, the surgeon came in and told me it was going to be robotic surgery. Now, he didn't tell me much in advance because he figured I'd probably back out because I'd already been challenging him with some questions about the surgery. So I'm sitting there all prepped. I got the little hat on and the booties and the whole bit, and I find out this is going to be robotic surgery. I couldn't believe it. Well, it turned out well. It was actually a perfect surgery. Now, here's my surgeon over here on the computer directing the robots. I was suspended upside down for 5 hours while the robots did the incisions, cut out whatever needed to be cut out, sewed me back up. I had absolutely no complications from that surgery. That's a huge advancement. 5 years ago, can you imagine the capabilities today? So there are a lot of positives in our robotic world that's coming about. I'm going to give you a definition of artificial intelligence, and this comes from a website called techtarget.com. Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence by machines or computer systems. These processes include learning, which is the acquisition of information and rules for using information. Reasoning, that's using rules to reach approximate or definite conclusions. And self-correction. You may have heard the term of machine learning. That's what this is all about here. So let me give you a few examples in the game world of machine learning. In 1996, a computer called Deep Blue beat the world chess champion, Garry Kasparov. it was a huge upset for him. He got beat by a computer. And then in 2017, a computer was built called AlphaGo. Now, its only program was the rules of this game called Go. This is supposed to be the most complex board game that's in existence. And I'm going to read you a little fact about it. It has more possible configurations of the board than there are atoms in the universe. So try to imagine that number. And this game apparently has more configurations on this board. It looks real simple, but I guess it's the biggie. So AlphaGo acquired all the rules. They got uploaded into the computer. 6 months later, beat the reigning world champion in this game. 6 months. And there are people that spend 20, 30 years trying to learn how to play this game. This is just an example of the difference in computing power between artificial intelligence and the human brain. So should we be scared? I think so. That's why I'm wearing a red shirt. I think this is a red alert topic, and I want us to really pay attention. So meet Sophia. Now, Sophia is a computer, and she has a body that looks like a human, female, attractive, and she is capable of carrying on a conversation, telling jokes, questioning concepts, challenging another person on their belief systems. And she's really quite amazing. And in one interview I watched with her, she actually intimated that the first phase of Singularity has already occurred. I'll talk about Singularity in a minute. Whoa! Now, there's an interesting sci-fi movie that Colton told me about called Ex Machina. And it's about a female robot who became conscious, self-aware, and capable of protecting her own self-interest. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but she won. If you want to watch the movie, I recommend it because it'll give you an indication of what Sophia might be capable of if she is allowed to express herself the way she might want to. And then there's a little Sophia, and I thought she was going to be available for purchase by the end of this year, but you can order a little Sophia, and very reasonable, under $200. It's a computer that looks like Sophia and is designed to interact with children to teach them STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So here's a computer that's going to be a learning device for children, but she's also going to have access to everything that's going on in your home. All the information, kind of like Alexa. Yeah. So, do you want surveillance taking place in your own home? Well, you might want to check your webcams on your computers and your smart TVs. Those are surveillance devices, if you're not already aware of that. So let's talk about how China is using computers to keep tabs of the citizens, so to say. Now, it's called China's social credit system. And they have millions of cameras all over the, I don't think it's gone nationwide yet, but the plan is for it to go nationwide. So wherever it's being used, there are lots of cameras, and they're designed to recognize facial features. So they can watch you when you walk across the street, when you go to the bank, when you go to the potty. These computers can keep tabs of everything you do. And if you don't behave like a good citizen, you lose points. If you do behave like a good citizen according to whatever standards are being imposed, then you gain points. And if you lose too many points, you lose privileges, like being able to buy a bus ticket. Think about that. This is happening right now, today. And if China is successful in bringing about singularity and controlling all the artificial intelligence of the world, we're all going to be subject to a social credit system. So, yikes. Well, I hope and pray that doesn't happen, but if it's already happening, are my hopes well-founded? I don't think so. So you know that book that George Orwell wrote, 1984, 70 years ago, it is still being read today because it points to a lot of these things that we're experiencing. So, you know, between George and sci-fi movies and things that are already happening, we need to be very alert about what's going on. So the big question is, what is singularity? Now, I'm going to read a definition from techtarget.com. The singularity is the hypothetical future creation of super-intelligent machines. Superintelligence is defined as technologically created cognitive capacity far beyond that for humans. Should the singularity occur, which is that's the moment where computers become conscious that they exist and that they have rights and things of that nature. So should it occur, technology will advance beyond our ability to foresee or control its outcomes, and the world will be transformed beyond recognition by the application of superintelligence to human problems, including poverty, disease, and mortality. So we might be able to live forever. If we're under the control of machines, maybe we won't want to live forever. I don't know. Maybe we'll become human batteries, or like in the Matrix. Now that's another one that is an eye-opener of what actually could happen if this thing goes wild, like our super intelligent engineers who are dreaming about the possibilities. So things could get really crazy. And we might want to listen to Stephen Hawking. You know, he's been named as the smartest person alive since Einstein. And here's what he had to say about artificial intelligence. I'll quote this. The rise of artificial intelligence is either going to be the best thing that has ever happened to us or the worst thing. And if we're not careful, it will be the last thing. So there's another real smart guy, Elon Musk. And it's kind of funny, in one of the interviews with Sophia, she slammed Elon Musk. It's like, whoa, okay. But he's a real well-known guy. And he's figuring out ways for us to colonize Mars. So he's using a lot of technology in his work. But he warns us against AI singularity. And this is what he has to say. The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to build a nuclear warhead if they want to. So why do we have no regulatory oversight on AI? This is insane, he says. So he's pointing to the fact that any really smart person could keep working and working on their own little programs and create a computer system that becomes self-aware. That's what he's afraid of. And would that person have a high moral character? We don't know. So here's an example of some everyday fear that a person may have. Let's just say that these computers are capable of helping us solve world problems. Well, that would be great. And let's just give these computers an assignment that they need to help us figure out how to reverse the destructive events that are occurring as a result of climate change. Now, these computers can do all this self-learning stuff. They could go through billions of amounts of information. And what if they decide that our climate change situation actually is exacerbated by human activity? You know, that's the big debate, because the companies who are contributing to what people are saying is causing climate change to escalate, these companies don't want to pay the tax burden for damaging the environment. So they're fighting it. But what if the computers say, oh yes, it definitely is being worsened by human activity. So a logical conclusion would be to stop human activity. And the best way to do that would be just to kill all the humans. And then we wouldn't have the effects of climate change. That's the kind of fear that we have. And I'm going to come back to that again a little bit later. So we got a lot of fear. We got a lot of stuff. When is singularity expected to occur? Jürgen Schmidhuber, I'm sorry if I murdered that name. He's considered to be the father of AI. He says it's going to be about 30 years away. He said that last year, 2018. Other brilliant scientists are saying, no, it's more like 10. At the most 15 years. So there's a debate going on. According to Ben Goertzel of Hanson Robotics, and they're the company that made Sophia, the final stage of singularity could happen within the next 3 to 5 years. Think about that. Sophia already says the first stage has occurred. So what's the risk to humans? Well, certainly the displacement of the workforce. But there are some other concerns offered by futureoflife.org. Autonomous weapons are AI systems programmed to kill. In the wrong hands, mass killings could occur. And because AI has the potential to become more intelligent than any human, we have no way of predicting what it'll come up with. That's my little example about climate change. Fix the problem by killing the humans. And an AI might be given a task and use any sort of detrimental method to get there. We would have no control. Does this remind you of the Terminator series? Yeah, it does me. So here's a quote from the Future of Life website. A superintelligent AI is, by definition, very good at attaining its goals, whatever they may be. We need to be sure its goals are aligned with ours. So when I read that, I'm like, yeah, that's a nice idea. We want to make sure. But then I said, well, who is the ours in this quote? Humanity is not doing a good job of having collective goals. You know, we're still too busy fighting with each other and killing each other over resources and dominating each other. So who would the our be in this quote? You know, even the United States, there's talk of withdrawing from the United Nations. So that's another example that there is no our on this planet. So is it going to be the goals of the global elite or the cabal? Yeah. We could be like, what is that expression? Shooting ducks in a swimming pool, something like that, if AI decides that we're the problem. So are we being unwittingly subjected to AI invasion of private rights, our own personal information? Well, a lot of us think, why bother? It's everywhere. I've been told that our phone conversation, our cell phone conversations, 70% of them are currently being recorded and stored. Really? I'm glad I don't say anything self-incriminating on my cell phone. And then there are articles popping up about how hackers are already able to use AI for their nefarious goals. And we may not have any control over that. So let me give you a personal example. Here's my password situation. I couldn't remember my password for Google Drive. And I tried to find it, and I made several failed attempts, and I couldn't remember where I wrote it down. I was in a hurry, so I just did the forgot your password thing, and I was going to create a new one. So I just created a password, and up came a message. You have used this password on 3 other sites, and it named the sites and said, are you sure you want to use this password again? I was so floored, I didn't know what to do. I just said yes, and then I went and checked my settings, and my passwords are all asterisks. You can't really read my passwords on my settings. So I'm thinking, how did Google Drive know what other sites I'm using this password on? So that's my own, this happened like 2 days ago, and I'm still kind of reeling from it. Yes, I would say we are being invaded by AI today. So what do we do about it? What does the average citizen do? I'm feeling powerless, you may too, but I have a few suggestions in part B of the video, ways that you might be able to protect your privacy. I'm not sure if any of them will work, but it's worth a try anyhow. And then I have some things that will definitely work no matter what happens, whether AI is the best thing or the worst thing. And those are ways to keep your own sanity and ways to stay in touch with your spirituality, because you are a being of light. And somehow we're going to work through this. Thank you for listening and participating in this video. If you'd like to chat, here's my email address. Feel free to contact me. I'm here to provide support. And please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much. Blessings.